Hi, everybody. Welcome and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Kathleen Wong and I'm from TGO Consulting, and I'm pleased to have Griffin Swanson here with me today. He is the inside sales rep for Professional Advantage. We'll also be joined by Matt Green, who is the product manager. He'll be on a little bit later. And Professional Advantage is one of our Microsoft Dynamics GP partner. So Griffin's here today to show you how you can improve your cash flow, streamline processes, and reduce bad debt. So just before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. All your phones are on mute so that we can reduce any background noise. But if you have any questions during the session, please feel free to put them into the GoToWebinar interface and we'll be sure to read them at the end of the presentation. So for the next 45 minutes, we'll introduce who TGO is and Professional Advantage, go through a demo of the collections management module, and then answer any questions that you may have at the end. So for those of you who do not know who TGO is, we have been implementing financial systems for the past 27 years. We specialize in ERP, business intelligence, corporate performance management, business process management, and CRM. In the ERP space, we have been a GP partner since 1994. And what sets us apart from any other consulting company is that we guarantee the success of our projects at a fixed fee and fixed scope. We're always looking for ways to help our clients enhance their systems and improve their bottom line with solutions like Professional Advantage. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Griffin.
Thank you, Kathleen. Little brief history on Professional. Again, I'm Griffin Swanson, the inside sales representative for Professional Advantage. Professional Advantage was established in 1989. We've been a Microsoft President's Club member for several years. We have 14 offices worldwide from Australia, the Philippines, UK, and North America. What our product can deliver, I'll take you through the demonstration today. Feel free to ask questions on the GoToWebinar, as Kathleen stated earlier. But just to highlight what this product can deliver and really answer the question, what can collections management do for you? I'll run through these PowerPoints explaining that, and then we'll get into GP demoing the window. So first off, I'd like to highlight that there is a lot of decentralized information in the sales and accounts receivable area in GP. One problem we see today is that companies don't have the ability to keep collection history on the customer off age trial balances, keeping some posted notes, or perhaps have shared an Excel file. The main problem with this is there's really no way to share those notes, conversations, or histories with other users, at least not in GP. So collections management adds value, adds value in number one, the collections main window, which is really the command center for this product. It's great for ad hoc inquiry. You can use the main window for tracking and creating notes, setting up follow-up tasks, creating actions on invoices such as promises to pay and disputes. You can also access your task window, which is essentially your to-do list for the collections module. Collection notes can also be created from the main window. The notes have historically been the hub for collections management, really the main functionality. They allow users to create actions, keep history, and notes on customer invoices. And then the notes are also going to act as follow-up tasks. Second pain point we see a lot of customers have, you see a lot of inconsistent follow-up, and with that you're perhaps using a lot of manual communication. So collection plans allow users to spend time searching for customers, or spend less time searching for customers, creating emails, and attaching invoices manually. These workflows are essentially a set of actions suggested automatically based on the due date of a customer's invoice. So you can use predefined plans or define your own from scratch and tailor those to your different customer types. You will then process the actions suggested by the plans in similar groups, one by one, or all at one time, and I'll show you that in the demo in GP as well. And then lastly, bottom line, collections management is aimed to reduce your bad debt and improve your cash flow. So I like to show a number of performance reports. We have an accounts receivable summary window. There are some smart lists. There are SSRS reports or templates that come with the product. And there are some individual collector performance reports built in the product as well. And then the last thing there with collections management, it also calculates the days sales outstanding, which allows you to track your days sales outstanding over time and really measure your return on investment for this product. Then the last slide I typically show here before going into the demo is just highlighting the return on investment of collections and how you can track that. A good statistic to calculate your ROI is days sales outstanding. So your days sales outstanding indicates how much you're selling and how fast you're getting paid. And then that can really indicate how effective your collection process is working. So the example I have here up to the bottom right, this is highlighting for simplicity reasons. If you're a $36 million company today, that's roughly $3 million a month or $100,000 a day, and then you implement collections management and use that as a catalyst to decrease your days sales outstanding. The example here, let's say within the first year of using collections, you've decreased your DSO from 45 days to 40 days, just down by 5 days. That results in another $500,000 in your bank. So now I'll go into GP. I do have my demonstration set up in GP 2015. Right now, current functionality is supported in GP 2015 and GP 2013. However, we do have code for older versions, but they will no longer be enhanced from here on out. Also want to let you know I do have a number of shortcuts here set up on my homepage for the demo. But just to note, all the functionality when it's installed will reside here in the sales area in GP. So starting in logical order, starting at the top, if we look at the transactional windows, maybe you'll be doing some of your transactional entries, you'll be doing your invoicing, gathering cash receipts and applying those to sales documents, all the way down to where you may need to be doing some of your collecting. Go back to my home page here. As I said, these are my shortcuts just to make the demo go a little more smooth. Starting with the main window, I'll show you the importance of these fields, and then I do want to demonstrate a number of the actions that we can do here. So starting with the customer, if we drill into that, we'll choose Aaron Fitz Electrical. The main window, again, as I mentioned, is really the start point or command center for this product. It's going to give you a good overview or inquiry into any customer you select. So you pick the customer, as we did, Aaron Fitz Electrical. You can sort through these different address IDs that you have set up for that customer. So that's if you're trying to collect from somebody at more than one location for one customer, you can do that. You'll also display the contact person's name as well as their phone and their fax numbers. You can also see the last time that customer made a payment and how much that payment was for. And then below that, we have payment terms, which in this case are net 30 accordingly, and then you have your year-to-date sales, which really gives you a better idea of how big of a customer you're trying to collect from. Underneath that, we have some unposted sales, unposted cash, and unposted orders. So I like to mention that these are drill downs to some core GP windows. So starting with unposted sales, you drill into that. This is going to open up SOP document inquiry. So that's core GP, as well as the receivables. That's going to be also core GP. And same as I said with these other windows, you drill into those and those are going to pull open the GP windows for you. Now these may be important to review before you're collecting. First off, unposted sales and unposted orders. You come in here and you see the customer owes you a large amount of money that you need to collect from them. And you look back at some of these unposted sales and unposted orders. Perhaps there's a product that hasn't been shipped out yet or a service that's been carried out. You can look to put a hold on those things until the customer starts making some of their payments. And to put your customer on hold, you simply just go up by the customer ID and name, check hold. Once they make their payments, you can take them off of hold. Additionally, the unposted cash may be important to review as well. Again, you come in here, you see the customer owes you a lot of money. We also have a lot of unposted cash from that customer. That's going to show you that you have cash from, in this case, from Aaron Fitz Electrical that just hasn't been applied to the invoices in GP. So it's good to look at your unposted cash beforehand so you can potentially avoid an awkward conversation with that customer when you've actually received a payment from them. It just hasn't been applied to GP thus far. Below that, we have our credit manager, and that allows you to assign different GP users or credit managers to different customers. So if you have more than one person doing the collecting from your organization, you can assign users to different customers and set that up accordingly. Below that, we have our notes. Just to note, there is a new note button here at the top where you can create a note from scratch, and I'll show you that window in a few minutes. You have your aging that will be pulled up to the right side of the window here, and it's worth mentioning that the aging is pulled right from accounts receivable, so this information is going to be as current as your last aging routine. You can drill into each period, and it will pull open a transactional window here, and it will show you the specific invoices that fall into the specific aging period. Just to go over briefly, if you are collecting from multiple currencies, you can use this as a drop-down, and if you choose go from amount to this is going to show you the originating currency that you're collecting from. Below that, we can see the total amount due, and that's going to be everything that's invoiced to your customer and what they owe. Below that, we can see the credit limit that you have for that customer, as well as the salesperson ID and the territory ID. And as you know, those are just standard GP fields. You also have your parent ID below that, and that allows you to see if they're a part of a national account. So if you're using national accounts, the parent-child relationship function in Dynamics GP, you can come up here and change it from viewing a single customer to a group of customers. And what this is going to do, it's going to display the entire national account. All the notes that have been created for either the child or the parent accounts will be displayed here, as well as all the totals in those fields. But for demoing reasons, we'll go back to just a single customer. We have our collection plan ID that will be displayed here. I'll demo that in a few minutes. And then the total amount outstanding, which is the sum between of what's been invoiced as well as unposted sales and unposted orders. I'll demo the notes now. Like I said earlier, you can create a new note from scratch, but let's just pull open an existing note for some data. Now when these are created by the user, they show the date and the time that the note was created. It will show the caller ID, and this is the GP user who created the note. You have the address and contact for that customer, and then you can assign different priority levels to different notes that you choose as well. The bottom portion of bottom area here, that's going to be the note text. So this is all open text fields. So you can take or type in whatever you please, or you can copy and paste an email conversation specifically on what that note needs to read. So in this case, it looks like we spoke about Fitz. He's telling us that he's going to send payment by early next week on a couple of invoices. The next thing you're going to want to do in the notes when you create these is assign it to an action. Now an action is something that you've done, such as a reminder or a follow-up, or it can be the status of an invoice or invoices, such as dispute, or maybe it's been promised for payment. And I'll show you some of those examples. So if we click into here, these are going to be all configurable, so you can set up whatever action makes sense for your practice or your specific collecting activities. So some of these are straightforward. We have checks in the mail. We have sent to collections. Maybe there's a certain point in time when an invoice gets old and you need to send them to a collection agency. You also have disputing an invoice, and that's pretty self-explanatory. So each action can be categorized by one of three different action types. Now the first type is promise to pay, so that your customer has made some sort of notion that they're going to submit a payment on their invoice. The second category we have is special circumstance, and this would be anything deemed outside the normal day-to-day collecting activities. Your third one you have is dispute, and this would fall under this if you're going back and forth with the customer on what needs to be paid on the invoice, then mark that as dispute. And if you don't want to categorize it with any of these three different action types, you can just leave it as none. So the next thing I'll show you in the notes is once you assign it to an action, in this case it looks like we have a promise for payment, the customer is promising to pay the invoice, you have your action date, and this will act as a follow-up task. So the action date really leverages the note as a follow-up task, and I'll show you the task window in a few minutes, but that way you have this note in here telling you, hey, customer told us they're going to submit payment by early next week. But if it comes due and it's still open, we have this note in here and it will show up on your task window telling you that you need to follow up again because it obviously has not been paid. You can also assign notes to different users. So if you created a note in GP that wasn't for a specific customer that you manage, you can assign that to the appropriate credit manager. The next thing you'll do in creating the notes is select the documents or invoices that this note pertains to. So you can drill into that, and this is going to pull open a transactional list of all the open accounts receivable that that customer has, and then you simply just check the ones that this note pertains to. So it looks like we have a couple selected there already. Now once you select those invoices or those documents, it'll default the action amount to the total amount of the invoices that you selected. But you can change this. It is editable. I tell customers that if you have people you're collecting from and they're telling you that they're going to make a partial payment on those invoices, you can change this action amount so it meets the amount that your customer said they're going to pay. So if they say they're going to pay $2,000 on that invoice, that way when this $2,000 comes through, that payment can be applied to GP, and then you can follow up on the remaining amount of the invoice with a different note. Below that, we have our status, and this note is open because it hasn't been paid yet. So once a payment comes through on that invoice, we can mark it as complete. And then if for any reason a note is canceled, or if it's canceled by one of your plans, there are status reasons for that as well. I also do want to mention that there is a button that I'll show you in the task window called Mark Complete. So instead of having to manually go out and search which customers are making their payments on invoices, if those invoices are applied to GP, you simply just click the Mark Complete button and it'll take those away for you. And then one sort of lesser known feature of the notes is that anytime you come in here and you change something in the note, it will keep a history of all the revisions. You can drill into that. So this, if you click into that expansion arrow, you'd be able to sort through and see if any changes have been made to this note. It'll also show you the history of this note, the revision date, and then if it's been modified by any user. So that being said, that is generally how the notes work. The next thing I'll show you is a drill down to this total due. So if I click into that, this will pull open the transaction inquiry. Again, this is going to be pull open an accounts receivable transaction list. You get some nice visual cues here. This little information icon, that's going to let you know that there is a note attached to that document. You also notice that there are some letters next to these. A P is going to denote that it's been promised for payment. You can also see down here at the bottom what that customer is promising to pay you. And the cool thing about these promised payment notes is that once that action date goes past due, and if the customer did not submit payment on it, it's going to change that P automatically into a B, which is going to denote a broken promise. So you can easily see which ones did not get paid on time. You also have D, which will denote that it is in dispute, as well as S, which will denote special circumstance. You also have your total amount being disputed, the amount here deemed special, and then the remaining amount that the customer owes that hasn't been categorized is here as well. So that's where the action types come into play, and you can really inquire on groups like that. So next thing I'll show you is that task tab that I mentioned earlier, and essentially this is your to-do list for the day. I'm going to change my dates here just so we can get a little bit more data. Now this is any open notes. You can see here we have some phone calls, We have some promised payments, disputes. So this is your task window. These are things like follow-ups, reminders, and letters that can go out automatically through the plans. The plans are really just assigning the phone calls or things that can't happen automatically, so it reminds you what you need to follow up on. And then you can see that promise to payment note that we talked about earlier. We can drill into that. Again, spoke with Bob Fitz. Looks like he's sending payment by early next week on a couple of invoices. Then there's this Mark Complete tab. So this procedure, it's going to do exactly what it says here. Running this procedure will mark all payment promise notes with an attached invoice that has been paid as complete. So this is, again, so you don't have to go out and monitor if payments are being submitted. Once those payments are applied to GP on the invoices, you come in here, you click Mark Complete, and then you watch them disappear in front of your eyes. It's kind of nice to see that so you don't have as much to follow up on. Another thing I want to note here is that you can select the collector ID, but if you don't have an ID selected there, it'll just show you all of your open tasks. So say somebody's out on vacation with your business and you wanted to make sure you did the follow-ups for that other user, you can work on other people's tasks and until they get back in. And then you can also sort by the action date or the action ID in the task list. So that's essentially how the task list works. And then a couple other things I want to show you from the main window here. First of all, we've added some emailing functionality. So let's say you spoke with Bob Fitz and you're collecting from him, and then he requests that you send them the invoices that they owe. So you can drill into this email. You can quickly send a one-off from this window. If the customer's maintenance card is set up with the contact with an email address, you can add that right to the window. You also choose to copy or blind copy anybody in as well. Also in collections management, you have the ability to set up what we call collection letters. Now letters is kind of an older term, but if you think of them as message templates, you can use them as emails as well. You can click into this letter lookup. So these are going to be different templates. They are all configurable. I'll show you the maintenance window in a little bit, but just to give you an example here, let's just pick one. So this allows me to select whatever invoices I need to attach. We have a transactional list here at the bottom where we simply check which ones we would like to attach to the email. So say we want to choose a few of those. You click the invoices that you want to that email. Come up here and click refresh. It's going to do two things for you in this case. It's going to list out the detail in the body of the email like it did here. And it's also going to print and attach these invoices as PDF documents. So that's how the emailing works. Now one more thing I'll show you from this window is building queries. First I'll show you our standard collection query. And this is a query that develops a list of customers based on a number of different restrictions. So you can sort by the customer's balance that they owe you. You can sort and see if their balance is greater than their credit limit. You can sort by the period or date, the notes you have for them, or action type. But let's just drill into one that we've already created. So in this case, we have our restrictions here at the bottom. Looks like we're looking for those who are on a collection plan that are on a high risk, and also those who have exceeded the balance greater than their credit limit. So you can run this query once you have your query ID selected. You can click OK. And what it's going to do is it's going to show you, once you run it, it's going to tell you how many records it searched, how many met the restrictions, and then the total balance of those customers overdue. So in this case, it looks like we searched for 104 records. We found 2 that meet those restrictions. We have their total balance, and it looks like their overdue balance is what they owe for their total balance. If we click OK, you're going to see that it changed from viewing all of your customers to just those that were in the query. You can also drill into here and with the lookup field and see both of those customers that have found that met those restrictions, also showing their total due that they owe you, as well as the balance overdue that they owe you. we go back into the query here, one new feature that we've added is having the ability to run an advanced query. And this gives you the ability to enter SQL script to query your data. Now, if you manually want to write these yourself, or if you have someone that is knowledgeable with SQL queries and wants to create something different than what we have provided here, you can certainly do that. So that's the query page. The next thing I want to show you is the collection management plan setup. Now I'll show you the setup window here first, and I just want to let you know, collection plans are a set of steps or workflows that execute actions based on the customer's oldest invoice. So we have a couple examples here already. We have a good customer plan. Now this is probably something you assign to your premium accounts or those customers who are notorious for making their payments on time. You also have a high risk plan. This is basically the opposite of a good customer plan. This is probably something you'd assign to your previously late paying customers. And then we have one other plan here called a standard collection plan, and this is probably something you'd assign to all of your new customers. Now if you're looking into any of these steps, they are all configurable. Again, these actions are being suggested based on the due date of your customer's oldest invoice. So the first step in this plan happens 7 days before the invoice is actually due. That's a negative amount in the first step. So what's happening is we're executing this action called soon due. You can expand into this, and this action happens to be a letter that they get. You can click into the letter ID, and this is your standard letter maintenance window. So in this note, we're letting them know that they have invoices with us that will soon be considered overdue. We list out the invoices in the body of the email. The invoices we configured to be attached to this email include all invoices that are not overdue. There's a lot of different grouping options for which type of invoice option you want to attach to these emails, and you can do all invoices if you wish to. You can also choose to copy or blind copy in the customer salesperson if they need to be in the loop for a certain step. We also have our function fields here as well if you want to make the letter sound more personal. So maybe you want to put in the customer's name. Simply do that. You just click Insert. So yeah, you have those function fields that you can choose to make the letter more personal. There are two options for creating these letters as well. One option is using what you see here, the standard letter maintenance window, and this is going to be very format limiting. The other option is to use a Microsoft Word document template. You can still use the same function in those mail merge fields. You can use the same verbiage. Really the only difference is that the Word document would be sent as an attachment to the email, whereas the letter maintenance is the actual text in the body of the email. So back to the plan setup. So this is going to take your customers through the steps in this plan, as long as the invoice has not been paid. So 5 days past due, it looks like we're going to send the customer a reminder. 14 days past due, we're scheduled to give them a phone call. 30 to 45 days past due, we're sending them a couple more letters, a couple more phone calls, a third letter, and then 90 days past due, coming into the final action. Now it's worth noting too that the final action, or any action, can be a reminder to the collector internally. You know, you got customer so-and-so who's 90 days past due, and we need to put their account on hold, or need to send them to a legal department, or it could be a letter that the customer gets saying that their account has been put on hold and they're now delinquent. So once we've reached that last step in the plan, there are two options. You can keep repeating that last step. So maybe they get an email every 30 days telling them that the customer's account is on hold, or you can just have the plan stop suggesting next actions, in which this case you can determine manually what you want to do with the invoice for that customer. One other thing worth noting in this window is the minimum amount due. So this is going to be, again, based off your customer's oldest outstanding invoice. If the invoice does not meet the minimum, then you're not going to want to take them through the steps in this plan. So you can set a floor on what needs to be collected on via the collection plan. A good example I give is, let's say you have a customer assigned to the standard collection plan, and you do millions of dollars worth of business with them every year. But for some weird reason they have a $5 invoice that's past due. You're probably not going to want to take them through the steps in that plan or send them a number of threatening actions unless it is over the minimum invoice amount. So that's the plan set up. The next one I'll show you here is the plan processing. And this hopefully will tie everything together using this window. It's a pretty big window here, so it's a pretty big window here, so bear with me. What you're looking for is you're looking at all your customers, all the customers that are on the collection plans, and the ones that are ready to get their next action. So you can sort and process these actions in a number of different ways. You can look at the customers with a balance. You can look at your overdue customers. You can look at your customers from a certain collector. You can use one of the queries that you built, or you can just look at your customers who have reached the end of their plan. So we'll choose customers overdue. I can sort by the customer and search the queue by the customer name, the collection of plan that they're assigned to, the last action they received, or the next action they're scheduled to get. So if I pick the next action and I choose, let's say, first letter, I know that the first letter we send to any customer is a safe and subtle action. I don't need to go through and worry about who's getting those. I just go ahead and process all of those at one time. But for now, let's go back to all just for some more data. Now the goal of this window is for you to be able to come in here, do a quick review of your customers and who's getting those actions. But let's say you notice one of these customers. Let's say it's Alton Manufacturing. It sticks out in your mind because you just spoke with them yesterday. You can select that customer, and in the middle window here, it's going to show the documents that are due for payment for that customer. You can pick and choose which ones you want to include for that action, and then the bottom portion here, this shows you your letter text, which you can modify. So let's say you want to put in here, hey Jennifer, I know we spoke on the phone yesterday, but I want to send you those invoices that you owe us. You can modify that quickly and then process just that customer, or you can come back up here and delete that row. And do note, it would only take them out of the queue temporarily, so if you took them out now, you exited plan processing, and then later came back in here, you would see Alton Manufacturing reappear. So again, the overall goal of these plans is for you to be able to come in here, do a review, and go ahead and process all your customers. So if you click that, this will give you a summary of what's going to happen based on the plan that your customers are assigned to. So it looks like in this plan, or for our good customer plan, we're sending out 8 emails of final letters will be sent, 4 emails of a first letter will be sent. Our high-risk plan, 17 emails of a final letter will be sent, so on and so forth. And if your customer is not set up in GP with an email address, it will warn you to go back and set them up with an email. So you can see here, it looks like we have a warning from customer Barry Med. They shouldn't be emailed a letter, or they should be emailed a letter, but they don't have an email address. You also have the option here at the bottom to choose if you just want to send an email, or you can choose to print those who don't have an email. In this case, you would print and send the printed ones through the mail or however you wanted to contact your customer. So that's essentially the collection plans. Next one I'll show you here is the receivable summary inquiry. Now the collection summary window allows managers, or really anybody, to come in here, review the summary information. You can do it by credit manager, you can do it by your current query, or you can do it by the parent company. Or if you just leave it blank and you click calculate, it's going to do the whole system for you. Now the top portion here, this is going to be your standard receivable summary information. The middle portion will show you summary information of your notes. So you can see here you have your disputed notes, you have your notes, how many have been promised for payment. But probably the two most important fields on this window are, first of all, notes past contact date. You can drill into this. It says looks like it says we have 9 of those notes. You can see those 9 notes when you drill into it. And then probably the most important field is going to be your overdue documents not on a note. Now bear with me, this is my demo data, so it's showing here we have nearly $2 million of past due invoices we do not have a note for. So essentially we don't know why they haven't been paid. Again, you can drill into this. So from here, maybe you have a credit manager, go in there and assign these to different collectors for follow-ups, or you could use this as your call down list to create new notes. And then the bottom window here is just going to be the aging. So that's a summary window. Then the last thing I'm going to show you with collections management today is our days sales outstanding calculator. So this allows users to pick a specific period and calculate the DSO for that period. So if we click calculate, it'll show you your sales for that period, your average sales per day, your current sales outstanding, and then your days sales outstanding. You can then add that to the log at the bottom and then track your days sales outstanding over time. So that being said, that's a general idea of how collections management works. At this time, we will look to see if you have any questions.
Griffin, we don't have any questions at the moment.
Okay. All right, here, I'll go back to my PowerPoint then. So thank you for attending today. Looks like we don't have any questions at the time. We do have some contact information now. Kathleen, I believe this is your information if they want to reach you.
Yes, it is. Or if you are one of our clients, feel free to contact your account executive. But we will stay on here for a little bit longer in case you do come up with any questions, or if you think of some later, feel free to email us.
Okay. I also do want to display, yeah, if you have any questions that you can't think of right now at the moment, please feel free to contact or reach out to Kathleen. As she stated, we'll wait on here a few more minutes to see if any questions come through.
So I'm just going to go ahead and close off the webinar. I just want to thank Griffin for joining us today and presenting on the collections management module from Professional Advantage. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. We will be following up with you shortly. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us for this afternoon's webinar, and to have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Kathleen.